Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today. So today's practice is meant to be a fairly gentle practice. I have a blanket, a couple of blocks, and a strap, and then obviously a mat. So collect those items if you don't have them already, and then we'll join on the mat. I'm planning to begin on the ground on my back. It's taking a few moments to settle in here. Relaxing the legs, relaxing the shoulders, just melting into the floor. Taking a few moments to breathe in and breathe out. Just using this time, this opportunity to kind of separate from, whatever we were doing before, whatever portion of the day, whatever stresses have weighed in, and we'll work on kind of melting into the ground here for a moment. Maybe beginning to allow the heart to open just a bit as we recline here. Perhaps that allows our shoulders to melt back toward the ground. Maybe we kind of connect with the breathing. Inhaling deep to the abdomen. Exhaling fully. Perhaps just a few more breaths in and out. Inhaling one more time. And as we exhale, really feel the navel press toward the ground. Using that engagement perhaps to fold the legs up, just bringing the soles of the feet to the ground. So let's do a couple more breaths in this position with that idea. Breathing in, and maybe that creates a little bit or kind of restores a bit of an arch to the lower back. And then as we exhale, let's see if we can flatten that out for a moment. Perhaps a couple more times. Maybe as we continue with that, maybe we bring the hips up just a little bit. Or down. So it's not necessary. It might be more the idea or the thought of creating a little bit of motion here. But really the goal is to create a little bit of an engagement where we can move with connection. Inhaling and exhaling. If it comes up at all, thinking about kind of lifting the back pockets, and then almost as if you were kind of ratcheting up the spine, one vertebra at a time, and then maybe bringing it back down in much the same way. One more time. And then rolling it down, perhaps taking one knee in and extending the other leg out. So just holding this here, continuing to breathe, feeling that the body is completely supported. Changing sides, just whenever you're comfortable, right? So the extended leg is still a part of our foundation. It's active. It's not just laying there. So really, think about how we connect through that leg as well. Maybe drawing both knees in if that's comfortable. Rocking a bit from side to side. Maybe drawing some circles with the knees as if we were tracing on the ceiling. Now, this initial round, I'm keeping the knees close together, kind of coming up one hip across the belt line, down the other hip, and across the back pockets, right? So now we can go the opposite direction, of course. Up one hip across the belt line, down the other hip, and across the back pockets. So maintaining whatever connection we're able here, just moving only as large of a circle as we're able to keep relative control with. So obviously we can do this with the knees together as we have been, or if you'd like to separate the knees and try and make the circles go opposite, right? And obviously those can be reversed in direction as well. So just taking note of how that feels. It's not necessary, just an option, right? So it kind of brings us into our core a little bit. Returning the knees to your chest whenever it's comfortable, rocking maybe from left to right. Just a couple breaths here. Maybe looking to the right or the left, maybe letting the head roll left and right. Maybe taking a moment to actually pick our head up off the ground, lifting the chin toward the ceiling, and letting everything back down to the ground. Maybe lifting the chin toward the ceiling once again, letting it down. Let's do that one more time, just gently lifting the chin toward the ceiling. And you don't have to come up very far, just the idea that we're actually supporting our head. Once we've lifted, then maybe looking to the left and the right, thinking about keeping our neck long. Right? So you might feel it extend out a little bit as we do this rotation. And releasing down, perhaps rocking once again. And maybe rolling to one side, coming up onto our hands and knees. Positioning the shoulders over our hands, hips over the knees. Just moving into cat-cow, inhaling and exhaling as we flex and extend the body. Maybe one more time in this direction. and perhaps shifting left to right. And one more time, maybe sinking back, finding child's position, resting down here for a moment. So perhaps from child's position, maybe we extend the arms left and right. So, I like to do this just to find a little bit of mobility in the sides, stretching out the lats a little bit. But remembering that, as we work our way toward the right arm can kind of bend out of the way. We don't have to extend that shoulder. Maybe you can just use that to support our head for a moment. So the focus at the moment is really on the left side of the body. Then when we're comfortable, maybe walking the arms to the left, perhaps bending that left arm out of the way as the right arm extends just a bit further. And maybe finding our way back to the middle, palms on the ground, getting a nice solid hold, inhaling as we come forward for a moment. So finding a modified plank here, right? Keeping the knees on the ground, arms staying fairly close. Think about lifting the navel up, and more so to support our back, to keep us from kind of hanging into this and just holding a relatively comfortable, hopefully, plank. So to hold this another breath cycle if you'd like, or pressing back to child's position when you're ready. Maybe extending through the arms a bit. Coming forward once again. Finding plank, right? Keeping the elbows close, navel lifted, breathing in and breathing out. Maybe lowering partway down. Maybe pressing up and back. Now the lower, you don't have to lower, it's just an opportunity to find a little bit more engagement in the upper body. Hopefully we're maintaining that connection through the center. So coming forward again, maybe holding that plank, maybe lowering partway down. And I'm not going very low, but I am finding a bit of a challenge in that position today. Coming forward. Now it's a gentle challenge, right? I'm not pushing for strength. I'm just trying to find a little bit of stability, just a little bit of what my body is needing at the moment. I'm going to do one more. But move at your own pace if you'd like to do another, or remain in child's position. Just listen to what your body is telling you. Lowering partway, pressing back up, and returning to child's position. Good. Now, from child's position here, with the arms extended, you can fold them in and give your head a place to rest, or if it's comfortable letting your head rest on the floor, or you can certainly put a block in here or something else, but maybe folding the arms back to the sides and just pausing here for a moment. So this may bring a different sensation into the shoulders and the neck, kind of feeling that upper back change angles a little bit. But just resting in child's position for a moment. Now the beauty of child's position is it draws our focus in, right? My forehead is gently touching the ground. My vision is fairly limited at this point. I can see my knees. I see just a little bit of light kind of coming through where my feet are. But for the most part, there's gray mat in front of me. And I'm good, right? Just breathing in and breathing out. Just feeling what is in this moment. Remaining here as long as you'd like, or perhaps when you're ready, extending the arms forward once again. Drawing these shoulders forward over our hands one more time. Now,
I'm going to go through the low series. If you'd like to follow me here, that's great. My goal is actually to find my way into a comfortable downward dog. So I'm going to lower partway through, looking forward and then coming up. So that was really kind of a quick low portion, and then lifting back so the downward dog may show up. Now you can obviously return to child's position or remain in child's position, but I am finding this to be fairly gentle for my body today. Dropping my chest, rolling the shoulders back, extending through the legs, right? So downward dog is a little bit more challenging than child's position perhaps, but it doesn't have to be the hardest thing we do, right? We can just gently walk or lower one heel at a time closer to the ground, right? Extending the legs a bit. We're still dropping the chest, maybe rolling the shoulder blades back, some lifting the navel a little bit. So if we were doing good with the plank, we can maybe bring that engagement or that idea into the downward dog briefly. So whenever you're ready, maybe we work our hands and our feet closer together. Take your time, right? There's no hurry here. Nice deep bend in the knees if you'd like, right? That protects our legs and our lower back. Reversing the swan dive when you're comfortable. Maybe swinging the arms overhead and then releasing down. Oh, good. So I just need to adjust. As we stand, I'm actually feeling my sinuses release just a little bit. Rolling the shoulders out, maybe looking to the left or the right, all the while working on thinking about keeping our head directly over the shoulders and turning around the long axis. Maybe lifting the chin or the back of the head, maybe one ear or the opposite side. Shaking things out if you'd like. All right. So a little bit of chair. Okay. So with this being a little bit more gentle in mindset, take that and work with it as it's comfortable. Right. Inhaling as we come overhead, exhaling, and we sit. Now maybe we find where there's a comfortable chair. Maybe we find that there's more comfort if we go a little bit lower or stay a little bit higher. For me today, I'm going to stay a little bit higher, inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we come down. That doesn't mean that it's without challenge. It just means there's a little bit of a different thought process here today. I'm not trying to lift the weight of the world. I'm simply moving my body and enjoying the opportunity to do so. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling down. I'm actually going to sneak over and catch my block, one of my blocks. I'm going to put it between the knees. So this is the second widest version of the block, right? So we wide, second wide, and then the narrowest. So I'm kind of finding that midpoint, which allows my knees to track evenly. Maybe it reminds me to engage through the inner thighs a little bit, but I'm just finding a comfortable chair flow, right? So I'm sitting really kind of just maybe coming to the edge of a challenge, right? Or just that of a challenging chair. Maybe sitting to that point where we're comfortable, turning to the left, inhaling, coming up, exhaling, coming down, just finding whatever depth is appropriate for today, and then maybe turning to the right side. So moving with comfort. Again. And out. So let's make this, we'll complete this cycle, and then let's do one more on each side. Just kind of flow through it, one more round. So, and I'm not pushing the rotation, I'm just allowing my body to turn. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and coming just a little bit to the other side. Inhaling up, and then releasing the arms. I'm going to take that block out for now. I'll leave it close to the head of my mat, because I'm probably going to use that with the forward bend coming up here very shortly. But before we do that,
Let's do a little bit of walking warrior, just gently stepping back, rolling the shoulders open, extending the hips here. So there's just this opening and coming forward. Inhaling on the other side, right? So it's a gentle step back, lengthening things out, maybe lifting the chest a little bit, maybe rolling the shoulders back. Perhaps as we pull the arms back, we can feel the chest open up and coming forward. Maybe the hands coming back to our chest. Inhaling, exhaling. Just a couple more here, back and forth. One more time, stepping back, forward. Maybe shaking things out for a moment, maybe relaxing the arms, perhaps turning from the hips, just gently releasing tension here. Shaking out the legs. So a little bit of a forward bend flow. Now you may choose to alternate this with chair, but inhaling, sweeping the arms overhead, exhaling, sitting as if you were moving into that chair, and then hinging the body forward. Now this first round, I'm actually walking my hands down my legs to provide a little bit of support, then catching the block, and maybe completing or continuing to extend forward. Maybe dropping the hips, maybe walking the hands back up the legs, and standing. Inhaling, exhaling. Let's do it again. Coming forward, maybe we walk the hands down the legs again. Maybe we don't need to. It's just an opportunity to kind of check in and see what the body's needing today. Lowering forward, reversing the swan dive when you're comfortable. Inhaling, exhaling. Extending the body perhaps, and exhaling one more time into the forward bend, relaxing the neck and shoulders. So if you choose to plant your hands on the block, let's take a moment there, but really the idea is just that we're kind of allowing our body a few moments to rest into this forward bend. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe there's some bend in our knees, maybe our shoulders are relaxed, the crown of our head may hang toward the floor. But let's just take a few moments to breathe. Maybe cradling the arms here if you'd like. And reversing that forward bend when you're comfortable, right? Coming up. Rolling the shoulders out, maybe looking left and right. Maybe lifting one ear or the opposite. So from here, I'm actually going to step back. Let's find the long edge of the mat. So I step back with my right foot. I'm going to take a couple of moments to release the weight. Maybe twisting in here just a little bit, opening the hips some. Ideally, we're decompressing the spine, maybe finding a little bit of rotation. We might even turn and look over the shoulder a little bit. So you can hold each side as long as you feel comfortable. I have a tendency to flow left and right with this, but you know there is a lot of benefit to be found in just holding one side or the other. Upright if you'd like.
maybe paralleling the feet. Right, so let's extend forward if that's available at the moment. Now, I don't have my block here. You certainly can use the block if you'd like, but maybe the floor is available, and it depends on how wide you move your feet. Maybe we soften into a forward bend here in some way. Right, so the legs may continue to extend as we soften the body forward. Upright whenever you're comfortable. Now it caught me, I adjusted my feet inward just a little bit, but I'm going to turn into a warrior two. So just finding that to be relatively comfortable. Now, warrior two, I'm not going to go very deep. I'm not going to go very long in terms of, this is not the point to challenge. We're just going to hold it for a moment here, finding warrior two, thinking about pulling that knee over the foot, extending out through the arms, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, but then continuing this idea. I kind of am rubbing the middle finger tips, but I'm going to really kind of think about pressing the tips of each middle finger in completely opposite directions. So there are 2 points on one line, and they're drawing outward. Now the shoulders hopefully are falling away from the ears, but breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling as we come up. Let's release the hands to our hips for a moment, rolling the shoulders out. So I'm trying to relax the arms. And then just for now, pivoting on the heels or whatever so we can kind of come to the other end of the mat and finding warrior two on the other side. So if you can, take a moment to notice that the belt line and creating this horizontal nature of our belt. So rather than having, our hips pitch, reaching, pulling that right knee over the right foot, extending the arms, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and then again, pressing the middle finger on each hand in completely opposite directions. Up, releasing the arms. Then let's parallel the feet. One more time, we'll take it forward to a forward bend, and just wherever your feet are comfortable, whatever width is appropriate for your practice today. Walking things down, maybe finding ground, softening the neck, breathing in and breathing out here. And reversing when you're comfortable, right? Bring everything up, working them in a little bit. And then let's step back to the forward edge, maybe shaking the legs out. Maybe turning, so once we plant our feet on the ground, maybe turning from the hips just a little bit, relaxing the arms. Rolling the shoulders out. So let's take a moment to place the hands just above the back pockets, right? So we're not in the spine, and we're not, in the bum. We're just above. We're into the pelvis. The idea is I'm going to use this as a jumping off point, as a point to lift up and out. So really, the picture is going to be that I'm kind of thinking about taking the center of my chest and lifting it up and back slightly, more up than back,
I'm staying out of the lower back, right? So I'm actually expanding that area rather than collapsing into it. And that's what the hands are for. They're there to actually help kind of support and lift us out of that low back for a moment. And exhale as we come back to neutral. Releasing the arms. We shake things out, turning from our hips, just completely relaxing the body. So as we stand here for a moment, maybe taking and folding the arms behind, right? So this just giving us a moment to draw the shoulders back a bit differently. Maybe we can continue to think about breathing and lifting through the chest. Maybe we lift one ear or another or the other. Perhaps we look left or right. Maybe we lift one ear or the opposite. All right. So shaking the legs out a little bit. Stepping back to a comfortable warrior one. And from here, maybe just standing for a moment. Warrior one. Perhaps noticing the ribs lift a little bit as we breathe in, thinking about sinking the hips a bit as we breathe out. Now, lots of arm options with Warrior One. You know, sometimes I like to keep my hands at the heart center because it's very relaxed, it's very centering, versus this idea of kind of having to support the arms and maybe putting a little bit of tension back into the shoulders. But for right now, you can do this with the block or without, depending on what's comfortable. But I'm going to hold the block behind my body, right, rolling the shoulders back. So I'm simply engaging the shoulders in such a way that I can put just enough pressure on the block to hold it there, right? So the goal is to broaden the chest a bit, creating some space for the breathing, expanding the chest actively by engaging the upper back. Pulling the chin in just a bit. Releasing there, maybe shaking things out, coming up if you'd like. And then let's step forward and we'll set up on the other side. So I'm still holding onto the block because I'm going to do it again on the other side. But starting by finding the comfortable foundation, right? Really checking in with that foundation. Bending into that front knee just enough that the tips of the toes disappear. But again, if anything, if there's any challenge at all, we're just kind of flirting with the edge of it. I'm not driving into a place where I'm really stretching the mat out or extending the body. It's just kind of this position that maybe I feel like I could hold for a good period of time here. So whenever it's comfortable, if you would like, with or without the block, maybe rolling the shoulders back, breathing in and breathing out. Releasing whatever that's comfortable with the arms, maybe extending the legs, coming back to the forward edge. Maybe shaking things out here, maybe turning from our hips if that's comfortable to you. So as far as a balancing posture for today, I'm actually going to keep both feet on the ground and just bring my feet as close together as I'm able. So to start with, maybe rolling the shoulders back. Feel both feet pressing equally into the ground if possible, maybe a little bit of engagement between the thighs, but just holding that posture for a moment, maybe looking side to side or up and down.
more from there rather than keeping the arms down. Maybe extending the head, maybe folding the arms behind the body. Now there's lots of ways to fold the arms behind, so maybe we just hold the elbows, that's great. I'm actually going to try and bring my palms together. That's just an option that is feeling appropriate for my body at the moment. Rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest a bit. So I may need to engage to the center just a bit to keep myself from feeling like I'm collapsing back. But feeling the breath move into the middle of the chest. Back to neutral when you're ready, releasing the arms. Maybe shake things out. Maybe turning from the hips as we relax the arms. Maybe lifting one ear or the other. All right. So working our way toward the ground. Now, I like to do the low squat, and that fits well for my body. It may not fit well for yours, and if that's the case, just go ahead and sit back as you're comfortable. But if this low squat is at all comfortable for you or available to you, maybe hang back. Now, I have a post here, and we can. Now, I just happen to use this. It's a short strap, but the idea that I can catch something and sit back, if I hold, it'll allow this to be a little bit more available to you versus, especially if you're kind of doing this with your heels up because you're not finding the balance, or that your body's not made for that. So whatever's an option. You certainly don't have to use it, but it's just, for me, it's a good one for the low back. Like I said, I've kind of noted this before, that I do use this low squatting position quite a bit as I'm waiting for things. My feet are on the ground, but the body kind of holds in for a moment. So if you're not already sitting back, go ahead and take the hands back, sit back toward the ground. Now I'm going to shift just so that I'm kind of facing the camera, but lowering the knees. If butterfly is comfortable to you, maybe we sit for a moment, maybe we lift our chest, maybe we gently lower the leg. Now, in doing this, for me at the moment, I'm just, I won't call it massaging so much, but I'm applying a little bit of pressure through the inner thigh. I'm kind of just opening the hip partly, but you can kind of feel this opportunity to tenderize, we'll say, the muscles in the leg. So let's try the other side. And it's certainly not meant to be painful or anything. It's just, I'm just kind of trying to coax a little bit here and get the muscles to relax gently. My thighs are a little bit sore today, not anything outside of safe or normal. But it's just, honestly, it's just feeling good to rub on them a little bit. Just put a little bit of pressure, a little massage on the legs. Probably could continue that for a while. It feels good. All right. So releasing, maybe finding our way back to butterfly for a moment. So maybe after doing a little bit of massage to the legs, that may feel a little bit more comfortable. It might not, but it's just a thought. All right, so from here, I'm actually going to extend one leg. I'm going to keep one close, but one leg is going forward. So I'm finding a one-legged staff position, sitting as tall as I can, and then gently extending my body forward toward my feet. Now I'm not worried about catching the foot. I'm just thinking about lifting and gently extending forward a bit. obviously, if you feel comfortable going further, take it further. But remember the idea that this is a gentle practice, and I'm just kind of finding the edge of challenge or of sensation, sometimes I'll call it, where, you know, if I go any further, I feel like I'm going to dig into that muscle a little bit more, which is okay. But for today, I'm just giving my body a break, or I'm attempting to give the body a little bit of a break. So coming back up on this side, and then let's shift into the other side. So it's important to do this without pitching the hips or anything, right? I really want to keep this as if I were with my feet that were in the same plane, and just one foot happens to fold in. So I'm really targeting the leg directly. So again, lifting the chest, so kind of extending that midline, and then maybe coming forward. Back. Just releasing, maybe kind of shimmying both feet out here for a moment. Now, if sitting with a wide leg posture is comfortable, take a couple of moments to do that. This one is one that's really been speaking to me in the last few weeks, especially, but probably longer than I give it credit for. But just taking a few moments and thinking about reaching through the heels and then sitting tall through the body. So I'm using my arms behind me to lift the chest a bit, and I'm really trying to keep my lower back extended as I continue to reach through the heels. Releasing when we're comfortable. Perhaps rolling back to the ground, maybe keeping the knees close for a moment. But when you're ready, releasing one leg, crossing the opposite over top. So a reclined figure four. Maybe we remain here. Maybe we reach through. So I've got my right leg crossed over my left. Maybe we take the hands kind of through the center, or one of them through the center anyway, catching the left thigh and kind of drawing things a little closer. So part of the picture might be that we're taking and we're putting the right foot toward the left chest or the left shoulder. So this is just an option, right? Maybe kind of thinking about keeping that right knee turned outward. Now, when I do this, I like to play with it a little bit in terms of, with my left leg at this point sort of relaxed. There's one sensation, but it might feel different as we extend the left leg. Now, that doesn't mean that that's appropriate. It doesn't mean that that's a part of a gentle practice for you. It's just something that I like to play with when I do this. A lot of times I'll find, this actually lights up my left leg a little bit more. As I release it, somehow it seems to allow, by taking the hamstring out, it allows the figure four itself to get a little bit deeper. Now, releasing this side when you're comfortable, maybe unwinding the legs, and let's set up on the opposite side. Now, keeping in mind that the two sides probably won't feel the same. And I'm taking a moment here with the left leg crossed over the right to actually externally rotate my leg. I'm actually applying a little bit of pressure to that left knee. Not a ton. I'm just kind of coaxing it, giving my body an opportunity to find openness in this place. Whenever you're ready, if you'd like, reaching through, catching that right thigh this time, and drawing
in. Right? And remembering the experiment here, whatever, the playful portion of keeping the knee bent, or extending it, seeing what we can find. Releasing when you're comfortable. Maybe releasing both legs, maybe rocking from side to side, well, catching both legs, rocking from side to side a little bit. And then planting the feet on the ground. So just a little bit of reclined butterfly. And I'm actually going to flow with this. I know this isn't really meant to be our flowing class. I'm just going to open for a moment, and then as I exhale, pressing the small of the back into the ground and gently bringing the knees toward one another. Just a couple more times here, back and forth. One more. So I mentioned the blanket, and I'm going to come up a little bit because my goal is I'm going to put the blanket along my back. Right, so the goal is for this to be fairly comfortable, but that I'm going to find a bit of openness to the chest. Lots of ways that the blanket can be employed, and if you don't have a blanket that feels comfortable in this way, maybe rolling up your yoga mat and putting it in the same manner will suffice. But make sure that the head is supported, make sure that the back is comfortable. It's kind of melting back. I'm actually going to fold my legs in and use the reclined butterfly here. This is comfortable for me, right? I'm not, kind of, the mobility is not limited where I have to feel like there needs to be support. My legs are able to lay comfortably to the sides. Now you certainly can put supports underneath your legs if you want, tuck your blocks in there or some pillows or something else. Or, the legs can remain long or whatever happens to be comfortable at the moment. But the idea for now is that we're allowing the shoulders to open out, the chest to open up a bit. So, with perhaps increased time on the computer, or just maybe even reading, or just doing things that are closer, we'll say, we may have noticed a little bit more rounding forward of our posture. So this is an opportunity to kind of rectify that a little bit. But more than that, we're opening the chest, we're creating room for the breathing. We are perhaps releasing a little bit of compassion, or just opening the heart center for what is available to it. So a couple more breaths in this position. Obviously, staying here as long as it's comfortable, as long as you like. I'm certainly feeling the pull, the desire, maybe to remain here for quite a while. Just feeling the arms relaxed completely. I am experiencing a little bit of buzzing in the palms of my hands, which is great. There's just this energy that's flowing outward from my chest, down through the arms and into the hands. The hands and the arms are completely relaxed. The chest continues to open. Feeling support through the low back, releasing the legs in whatever way they're available. Perhaps softening the jaw, maybe releasing the face. Just kind of letting go whatever we're able to notice in the head. Maybe one more full breath in this position. And as you're comfortable, maybe gently rolling to one side, supporting, just pausing here for a couple of moments. When you're ready, coming up into a comfortable seated position. So however it's most comfortable. Rolling the shoulders back a little bit, stacking the head over our shoulders. Closing out our practice today, our time together, with 3 breaths. First breath, honoring the body for its work. Second breath, honoring the mind for its attention. And the third breath, honoring the breath itself for its presence and its feedback. Saluting one another as we close out our time together today. Thank you for joining today. Until next time.